Шановні колеги, всім доброго дня. Вітаю в Українському кризовому медіа-центрі всіх, хто...
Dear colleagues, good afternoon. We are following events in the east of Ukraine, and now we'll hear the Deputy Head of the Information and Analytical Center of the Council for National Defense and Security, Mr. Polyovyi. Good afternoon. Let's start today's briefing. As a result of next round of talks in Minsk on the 19th of September, the memorandum on the realization of a protocol of the 5th of September of the trilateral contact group has been agreed, and it provides for a bilateral ceasefire, the stoppage of the use of weapons is considered general. The units and military formations stop at the line of contact on the 19th of September. Also, there's a ban on any offensive actions and use of any kind of arm. Within 24 hours from the time of the agreement, of the memorandum, the sides will withdraw weapons with a caliber of over 100 millimeters from the line of contact to the distance no less than 15 kilometers from every side, and this will provide for the creation of a security zone not less than 30 kilometers, and all the artillery systems with a caliber over 100 millimeters are being withdrawn from the line of contact to the distance of its maximum range. Also, there is a ban on the location of heavy arms and heavy machinery in this district. There's also a ban on new mining, engineering works, and from the moment of the passing of the memorandum, there is a ban on the flights of military aviation and foreign aircraft, with the exclusion of the OSC drones over the security zone. During 24 hours, the ceasefire zone will see the deployment of a monitoring mission of OSCE, and the zone will be divided into sectors. There's also provision for the withdrawal of all foreign military armed formations, machinery, and fighters and mercenaries from the territory of Ukraine under the monitoring of OSCE. In order to fulfill the peace plan of the President of Ukraine, the armed forces of Ukraine are observing the ceasefire regime. However, terrorists and Russian military are continuing shelling of the positions of the ATO forces. Over the 24 hours, illegal armed formations shelled road checkpoints and positions of the Armed Forces of Ukraine units in Donetsk Oblast, next to Mariupol, Nizhna Krinka, Trudovske, Novoselivka, Piski, Novomikhailivka, Nikishenko, Гостра Могила, Хил, Комишуваха, Гранітна, Красногорівка, Донецьке, Троїцьке, Рідкодуб, Водяно, Крайармейськ, and Donetsk Airport. In Luhansk region, they shelled villages and cities Shastya, Станиця Луганська, Ніжно-Тепле, Фрунзе, Міус, Центральне, and Orlivske. The anti-terrorist operation forces, while returning fire, killed almost 20 terrorists, one BM-21 Grad battery, and 4 mortars. Next to the villages of Novoselivka and Putiprovit in Donetsk region, the terrorists and Russian military shelled and tried to seize the positions of platoons of the anti-terrorist operation. The Ukrainian military have repelled both attacks. One Ukrainian military person died and 7 were wounded. According to the latest information, the general number of citizens of Ukraine who were displaced from the Autonomous Republic of Crimea and the city of Sevastopol to other regions amounts to 17,837 people, including 5,038 children. And over the last 24 hours, 43 people were resettled, 15 of them kids and 4 disabled. From the zone of anti-terrorist operation to other regions, 238,235 people were resettled, including 79 people, 1,242 kids. The general number of internally displaced people, counting both Crimea and within the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, 282,309 people were resettled, and 4 transit points for the meeting of internally displaced persons function in Krasnoarmeysk and Mariupol of Donetsk region and next to Svatov and Lysychansk in Luhansk. The State Emergency Service of Ukraine has detected and confiscated 188 units of explosive devices, and starting from the 6th of July of this year, 18,913 units of ammunition were confiscated and detected. Yesterday, the regular session of the Security Council of the United Nations Organization took place, where the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands, Frans Timmermans, delivered a report about preliminary results of the investigation of the crash of Boeing 777 Malaysian Airlines. The report of the Security Council of the Netherlands is based on the records of talks between pilots and ground personnel, and according to the preliminary report, the plane defragmented in the air because it was hit by a great number of highly energetic objects. The permanent representative of Great Britain at the UN, Mark Lyle Grant, said that Russian Federation bears a huge responsibility for violence in the southeast of Ukraine, and it also has to answer the questions connected to the air crash. Mark Lyle Grant says that the Russian statements about the involvement of an unknown Su-25 plane are entirely fantastic. We know that the MH17 flight suffered a crash as a result of a hit by the ground-to-air missile. We know, he said, that seconds before the contact was lost, the launch of the missile from the territory controlled by separatists was detected. We have intercepted conversations between separatists who were talking about the fact that they hit a civilian airplane. Also, the permanent representative of the USA at the UN, Samantha Powell, called upon the Russian Federation to withdraw troops from Ukraine and stop their support for the illegal armed formations. Also, she said that all prisoners should be freed and the border should be closed. The head of Australian Foreign Ministry, Julia Bishop, said that the situation in the east of Ukraine has deteriorated because of the support from Russia to the armed separatist groups. this support continues and it should be stopped. The question is, how real is the fulfillment of the Minsk protocol, and are there any points that are already being fulfilled? Thank you for the question, but it requires some assessment, and this is not for the Council of National Defense and Security to give assessments. We will inform you on the course of action. At the moment, we don't see any points that cannot be fulfilled. As far as Mariupol is concerned, what has happened there overnight, there's information that there were some interaction between terrorists and the Ukrainian army. We are telling you once more that at the moment there's also information influence, and the information that we provide is true information and checked information. Next to in the vicinity of Mariupol, Ukrainian road checkpoints were really shelled upon, and we also detected some combat reconnaissance. The attacks were repelled, no losses among our military. There's information that 30 lorries of the so-called humanitarian convoy from Russia have passed the road checkpoint. The control point is Varino. And what do they bring to us, and what are they taking from us? The crossing border point is Varino, is not under control of Ukrainian custom officers or Ukrainian border guards. So the Russians, while violating international law and sovereignty of Ukraine, they on their own define the content of the cargo that crosses the border of Ukraine. We don't know anything about the contents of those lorries. We didn't have any official information on this score. Could you tell us, yesterday and the day before yesterday, the map was rather drastically changed in Luhansk region, and there was an information that the control that the so-called DNR and LNR have moved their boundary 50 kilometers into the Ukrainian-controlled territory. In reality, this map is a very approximate reflection of the situation in the east of Ukraine. There's no front line there, or no barbed wire line there, or any trenches line that separates our territory from the territory controlled by territories. Mostly, our units are concentrated at the populated centers as military camps and road checkpoints. Those are pinpoint zones, and the communication between them is by roads. So from time to time we introduce corrections into our map, in particular to the north of Luhansk. The zone controlled by our units was moved to the left bank of the Siversky Donets River. So this river is now the line of separation on this portion. So 50 kilometers. Yesterday we thought that we were controlling the zone. Now we know that we don't. This is approximately the width of Kiev. It's hard for me to answer because it's hard to evaluate. But of course there were no 50 kilometers. There were some technical amendments. As far as Donetsk is concerned, what was the explosion there? Today, the explosion at the plant at the explosives plants. We don't have this information yet. I only saw it in Ukrainska Pravda comments about the so-called humanitarian convoy. The Russians are saying that they have offered Ukraine and the Red Cross to take part in the inspection, the border inspection of this cargo. Can you confirm or not confirm this situation? We will get the additional confirmation or rejection from our border guards through the channels of the Ministry for Foreign Affairs. The Russians have informed about their intention to send the next humanitarian convoy to the territory of Ukraine. This is not the information that provides for inspection, and it did not call for the participation of Red Cross representatives in the procedure. When this 15-kilometer zone will be enforced, is it going to be done from today? According to the text of the memorandum, it says that the 15-kilometer zone should be executed, enforced from today. And who will define where the buffer zone is going to be located? How this is possible in this situation when there is no clear front line? Who will be doing this? The negotiations of the contact group in Minsk are taking place with the participation of the OSCE representatives, and the text of the memorandum has it that OSCE will take part, will constantly monitor the enforcement of the conditions of the memorandum. We hope that this will allow to establish peace and realize the peace plan of the President of Ukraine on our eastern territories. Any other questions? If there are no questions, my thanks to Mr. Polyovyi. Tomorrow the briefing will take place at 12:30.